Welcome to Modern Lifekeeping. I'm your host, Lori Christine. Few of us can escape modern medicine. What saved Kira at birth was later the impetus for her death. How could her blood work be normal, but her liver, kidneys, and other vital organs be diseased? You can see why I'm interested in today's guest, Dr. Kylie Burton. Dr. Kylie is a certified functional medicine practitioner. For anyone who doesn't know, a doctor in functional medicine works holistically, considering the full picture of your emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual health. They consider factors like diet, genetics, hormonal changes, non-prescription and prescription medications, and other aspects of your lifestyle. I love that Dr. Kylie is creating a stir in the medical community. She has learned how to interpret blood tests in a way that serves patients in all the ways that a diagnosis doesn't. This episode provides insight from someone thinking outside of the box. Welcome, Dr. Kylie, and thank you for being here with us today.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Dr. Kylie, and I am creating a stir. I'm, as I would say, you're either on my train or you're off my train, and I don't really care which, because you're gonna roll with me or not. But I like to talk about blood work, and not the faults in the blood work itself, but the way that we need to read it is very different than what most physicians are trained in order to in ways to read it. So when you go to your doctors and you take blood work and they're like, your labs are normal, they look great, see you again in 6 months or a year for your follow-up, go up, maybe up your thyroid medication, maybe put you on a SSRI, antidepressant, whatever they want to try to mitigate and make you feel a little bit better. But the bottom line is the way that physicians are trained to read labs is to diagnose. And when the labs aren't bad enough, or the right lab wasn't taken, then you don't have that diagnosis. And without the diagnosis, we don't know how to treat.
Well, it drives the whole insurance.
Yeah, it just drives the whole system.
Yes, it does.
Right? So I read blood work in a very different way. I read blood work in order to go figure out what is happening in an unhealthy individual and get them healthy. And I'll get a lot of questions like, do you treat POTS? Do you treat MS? Do you treat anxiety and depression? Do you treat chronic fatigue? I don't care about the diagnosis. I just care that, look, you're unhealthy. And whatever that presents it to you is the way it presents, but I really don't care what it is. I treat all the above, but I don't treat the diagnosis. I don't even treat the symptoms. I help your body go from unhealthy to healthy. And the keys to do that are found inside our normal blood work.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And you're getting some backlash. What kind of resistance are you receiving?
So I have two audiences. I teach a lot of practitioners how to do what I do, but then I also help patients. So I have an ad on Facebook right now, which this is the first time I've ever jumped into the ad space, because you have to get prepared for what's going to come. Not only the backlash and the heat, but you're going to make sure your back end and your business is pristine and fine-tuned as well. So I've got a Facebook ad going right now for practitioners. And it's basically become, in the comments, Western medicine versus alternative medicine. And I don't mean it to be that way.
It's not.
With people who are, MDs fighting for what they know, and then you got the alternative people, and then you got people joining in on the combat, and it's just, I laugh at it. I think it's great fun. But people have also taken shots at me. I'm a chiropractor, and I've been told, you're a chiropractor, you don't have the rights to read labs, let alone teach people how to read labs. And one, they're wrong, but two, I don't use labs to diagnose. And there's a big difference.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I love that. Okay. I even get backlash when I put inspirational things on there. I'll get angry faces. And that just shows me that people are just resistant to change and not open to the possibilities, and they don't want to hear maybe what we're talking about. I personally have had a lot of experience with blood tests being incorrect. So I also don't agree with the constant need to diagnose and put everybody in a box. I think it causes a lot of misdiagnoses and just a lot of angst that's unnecessary. So what made you get into this blood work? What's driving that bus?
Well, the first off, I grew up in Western medicine. You got sick, you got a cold, you went and got your antibiotics. I got my flu vaccine every year. I mean, that was just what we knew, what we did. And then I graduated from my bachelor's degree in nutrition. And I liked the idea that, food can be medicine. I was learning the food pyramid, the food plate. I was learning that dairy is great because it has a lot of calcium in it. Those were the kind of things I was learning.
Except if you're
Well,
the cow.
yeah, that knowledge, that degree has been kicked to the curb because I don't do dairy anymore. I don't recommend the food pyramid or the food plate because that's the government and they don't know jack crap about what they're doing, hence the last 3 years of our lives. And I got into functional medicine. And when I started diving into functional medicine and realizing there was a different way, for one, that was completely brand new to me, and two, it was all about searching for the cause of symptoms and the cause of things. But even then, we can get into a rabbit hole because people will say, well, what causes migraines? What causes PCOS? There's not just one cause of things. What causes the inability to lose weight? That's why there's 9 trillion answers on Google when you ask.
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple causes. So it's all about going from unhealthy to healthy. But I got introduced to this new method. And then I was working as a chiropractic assistant. And I had a lot of women come in. I was the first person that they would see. I'd prepare them for the chiropractic adjustment and the treatment. And they would tell me about hormone problems, and they would tell me about libido issues and menopause and all the things a woman deals with. But then they would say, don't tell the doctor. And it wasn't about him. It was just like male versus female.
Sure.
And so I was like, screw it. Why don't I just go get a dang degree so that I can help these women the way that they need help? So I did. I went off and I got my chiropractic license. I dove headfirst into functional medicine, got a huge certificate and tons of training in that. And then I get into the real world, and I did it right after school. So I wasn't one of those that did the associate thing. I was just like, I know how people need help. I'm going to help them the right way. In order to do that, I have to be cash-based and I have to run my own gig. Well, there's a lot of functional medicine lab tests that we're trained on. At least I was trained on because I made sure that the program I chose involved labs. They're great labs, but they're expensive.
Yes,
So someone could spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 on just functional medicine labs. That doesn't include any of the treatment or any of the supplements or anything to actually heal, just information based upon the labs. And the clientele I was attracting didn't have that kind of income that they were willing to put forth in those kind of things. So then I had to figure out, well, how can I still get good results without these lab tests? Well, they already have blood work from their doctors. Why can't we use it?
Mm.
But if I'm going to use it, I can't read it like their doctor. Otherwise, it's going to get the exact same results. So I dove into everything I could find and just started to read blood work a better way, is what I call it. And it really got into, okay, I can find infections. I can find adrenal fatigue. I can find leaky gut. Wow. I can find B vitamin methylation. I can find all of these components to why someone is unhealthy. And it just snowballed from there. I started talking about, normal blood work on social media and giving a little bit of examples. I started my own podcast and started talking about it there. And when 2020 hit in March, the world shifted. Mm-hmm. I was running a virtual practice then. I had closed my office doors like 6 months previously. So I was already doing the virtual thing, already talking about the blood work. So then I started having a lot of colleagues reach out and say, can you teach me what you're doing? Because we just got shut down or we're losing clientele right and left. So you never know when you get started with something, what it will turn into.
I love it. And I love what you're doing. And that's exactly very similar to what I do, which is teaching people that they can heal themselves. And you're doing the same thing with information from the blood work. And I love it. Where can people look up your services and find out more about what you offer?
So if you go to drkylieburton.com, that's for practitioners, but at the bottom there, sorry, I've been talking a lot today. At the bottom, there's a button that says not a practitioner, click here, and that will send you to the patient page, which will then you'll have options where you can grab my book on Amazon, you can join the podcast, and cool things on there. And we just barely redid it. So when you go to my webpage, my website, it is not a typical website. It is literally like, if you're in the right place, this is you, and then go here.
Good.
Just very simple, very easy to navigate and make sure, again, that you are the right person. So if you're a patient, go to the website and go that route, or just go straight to the podcast at Beyond the Diagnosis with Dr. Kylie is my podcast.
Nice. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming today and sharing with us information about how you help people to heal.
Thank you for having me, Lori.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Modern Lifekeeping with Lori Christine and Dr. Kylie. Each one of us is being invited to question the status quo. We've been programmed to rely on medical professionals to solve our problems. Being engaged and involved in our health is our own responsibility. Our bodies are constantly communicating to us the answers that we seek. Please feel free to email me with comments or questions. For my contact information and more information on my individual and group soul strategy sessions, support services, retreats, and services, visit KEARAKisses.com. Until we meet again, keep wondering.